All right, everybody, welcome to Philo Sapiens, where religion meets reason. And today we have a different stream, as you guys know that there have been a few cases in past, probably 1.5 or 2 years, that some of the very prominent or popular ex-Muslims have, you know, uh, jumped the fence and gone on to the other side. Basically, they have gone on from agnostic or atheistic beliefs to the theistic belief side, basically, and more prominently so, they have gone on to Christianity side. And so, what we wanted to do was kind of have a discussion about that as to what could have been the reasons. And this stream is purely gonna be on you know we will run a few of the videos or clips that we may have, but we're gonna most more likely than not we're gonna speculate on what could have gone through these guys' minds, basically, as to why they chose Christianity over staying within the fold of a religion in some sense. So yeah, with me as always is Martin, and this is an English stream, as you can see. And it's possible that Callie might join us at some point or the other. Martin, how are you doing? If you want to add on to the base that I've put in here, please go ahead.
No, yeah, I'm good. I'm very good. No, I think you've summarized it quite well. I mean, as a minority of people who represent themselves, identify themselves as ex-Muslims, we're always interested when something kind of shakes up the beehive, let's say. And it's somewhat controversial and interesting to think that a fellow ex-Muslim, I mean, insofar you can use the word fellow, we're not necessarily like in a global partnership. Some people are part of like an ex-Muslim community. I'm not. But I'm just very interested at people who are popular ex-Muslims. And I think Ridwan, I think is that his name, Ridwan?
Martin, sorry, I was drinking water. Yeah, Ridwan, I think Ridwan, but it's
Ridwan.
Rizwan, right? Yeah,
Yes.
Ridwan,
I
Rizwan.
don't know.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't
I
know
mean
much about
so
but I
the
don't know
D
much
is
about
pronounced as Z, right? So Rizwan, you can say, but Ridwan, I
yeah.
admire.
Right. He's Turkish, is he?
He's Turkish, right?
Yeah. So I don't know much about him, but it's hard not to see him at some point on the internet because I suspect, and it's a wager, it's probably a wager of not a wager, but it's an estimation of mine that he's probably the most popular ex-Muslim, at least on the internet, right? Maybe somebody like Salman Rushdie may be the actual most popular ex-Muslim. I don't know. I've not calculated it. Well, Ridwan seems to be, at least in the YouTube shows, the most popular ex-Muslim, etc. And so it's very interesting to kind of be be um, uh, be acquainted with this news that he's actually transformed his religious beliefs, his position on God, that he actually thinks God exists and Christianity is true, which can be shocking for us because it's shocking in the sense that some of the same sort of arguments, some of the same sort of attitudes that led us to leave one religion seems a little bit, sits
It's
uncomfortably.
perplex. It's perplexing,
Yeah.
basically. Maybe I'm stealing your, I don't know, terminology. You might wanted
Yeah.
to use some other terminology, but it's perplexing to me, at least, that why would somebody who came from a very similar kind of a religious background, where some of the very similar arguments like kalam, cosmological or contingency arguments are run to, lure people
Yeah.
into that very fold,
Mm.
why has that gone on to a side which runs on very similar arguments that you think he would have at least thought about those, yeah, when he was a Muslim and came to the fold of a religion, basically, right? So
Mm.
that's kind of a perplexing thought to me, basically, right?
Yeah. If you want to share the stream link as soon as possible, that'd probably be good. I think Zane wants to come on. In the
Yeah.
meantime, whilst you do that, I think what we're going to do is try and find out. It is not going to be a thorough investigation. Maybe a hint of what was going on in his mind, Rizwan's mind, prior to his conversion to Christianity. And we've got
Okay.
a video, a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit of a
We definitely, Madan will definitely go into that. But before we even go there, can I just put my own perspective on it? And this shouldn't be taken as a jibe at him or any, what do you call, uh, is what aspersion? Is that a word?
aspersion. Yeah.
Yeah, aspersion is a word, right? What does it
Yes.
mean? Maybe it's a negative word, right?
Negative. Yeah. Cast aspersions. You don't want to
Yeah.
cast aspersion on him.
Yeah, so it's I don't want to put him in a negative light in that sense that I don't want to cast any aspersion on him. But I did think even when I listened to him very, sporadically, I thought he was lacking in that philosophical, um, what do you call, he didn't have that much of a philosophical grip on arguments basically. His arguments seemed to me at least that he was relying on more on those moral arguments basically, right? Because it doesn't feel to me that these moral injunctions are not according to what I think they should be, and that's why I kind of reject Islam, that
By the
kind
way,
of.
can I just
Mm.
stop you there? I think Kylie wants to come on.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay, I didn't see Khali joined in. All right. Oh, welcome to our third co-host, Khali. How you doing?
I'm already here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Welcome, welcome,
Can you hear me?
Khali. How are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I, I'm good.
Go
How are
on.
you guys?
Do you have a delay at your end?
I'm good. Is there a lag? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This
I think so. There is a delay.
it seems so. It seems so.
Right.
Maybe it's at your end. Khali, you might want to drop out
Let
and
me
then come
reconnect.
back. Yeah, yeah, reconnect. All right.
Is there anybody
God
else
is
on the
on.
phone? Is there anybody else?
Yeah, I
Yeah. Do you
think
want to add in?
Zen is here. Shall we,
Yeah.
Zen? Do you mind if we finish this thought, or shall we?
Before we do
Just
that, Zain. Before we do that, Philo. Zain. Can I just ask you? Have you've not been on this stream before? Have you?
no. He has
Uh,
been. He's
I'm
the he's the
I'm
he's the guy
this is
from
my
London.
second time. Yeah, this is my
He's the
second
guy
time.
from London. Yeah.
Yeah,
Guy from London. Have I
yeah.
spoken? You spoken to me before?
Yep. This is my second time on this stream. I just
All right.
recently came here in London.
Oh, I think I did. Yeah, I remember now. I remember now. Okay. I'll just sit tight if you can, Zain. Is that all right?
Yeah, sure. Continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So I'll put you in the studio, but on the back screen. Is that okay?
No worries. No
Uh,
worries.
while we finish this thought, right?
No worries.
All right. So what I was saying there, before Callie arrived on the screen or joined the stream, was that I always found that that AP had very emotional arguments, right? He used this moral argument a lot, just like a lot of other folks did, right? Or do still. I mean, in the ex-Muslim community. And when his wife converted to Christianity about a couple of months back, I don't remember how many months back, probably 6 months or a little over 6 months back or so, I was pretty sure that he's also gonna go that same way, basically, or same route. And then the last nail in the coffin was his video, and I was expecting that when I had seen that probably a community post or something like that, that his wife converted to Christianity, and I was expecting that he's gonna do that same thing as well. And then I saw that video of him saying that I'm in a church and I'm finding it really good or something of that sort. So I'm just paraphrasing it.
So, so you're so it's a no true Scotsman fallacy, right? No true. Huh?
No, no, no,
Anyone who reverts
no,
back.
not a no truth. I mean, you can say that now
I
that
mean, someone can. I
yeah,
think
so someone can accuse us of that.
someone can
Exactly.
accuse us of that.
Or you can also
I'm just
say
saying
that
that someone can
sour.
accuse
You can
us. Yeah,
always say that sour grapes, maybe. No, but
To
exactly.
be
no, I'm not saying
But
he
no, no.
wasn't.
But I
I'm
mean,
not saying
sorry.
he
Yeah.
wasn't a genuine, whatever, right?
Mm,
All I'm
mm.
saying is that his arguments didn't really, I mean, appeal to me basically, and maybe it did appeal to others, or maybe even the audience found those arguments to be compelling, and maybe quite a few Muslims thought that those arguments were really appealing. I mean, he did have a huge following, of course. So, I mean, who are we to say that his arguments didn't, appeal to people? Basically, he did. I mean, his channel has almost like 500,000 followers or something like that, subscribers, and we have like a paltry 1,500. So
Yeah. No, no, you're right. I mean, and I just said that because that is, and you rightly said, someone can accuse us of that, despite the fact that I totally agree with how you felt about AP's approach and AP's general arguments. I think I agree that my view about the type of arguments that he usually presented, I agree that my views were quite similar. My um, that's not the approach that I have, and I think none of us generally have that approach. We usually take a more philosophically, more rigorous, approach. Yeah, so I think I agree with you, and yeah, I mean, please continue. But I just wanted to point
well,
that out. Someone could, as you said, someone
yeah.
could
So
still accuse us of that.
let me comment on that. Let me comment on that because I could say that he wasn't really an atheist. Well, I'm not going to say that though. What I'm going to say though is that he wasn't a true philosophical atheist, right? He wasn't a real atheist, as some people say.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
a real Muslim. He wasn't a real Muslim.
yeah,
He wasn't.
I think that's why I refrained
that's a
from
true.
saying those things basically, that he
Well, no,
wasn't
no,
a
no.
real atheist and all those
So let
things
me just,
basically.
but because let me just explain this though. I do think you can actually defend that, and I do think the claims of a no true Scotsman fallacy
Doesn't apply here. Yeah, doesn't
doesn't
apply
really
here.
apply here. So the no true Scotsman's fallacy is when you don't you just kind of throw it out willy nilly, right? Like even if somebody performs and abides by a certain standard or expectations, if in the situation something goes wrong and it doesn't go according to plan, or they leave or whatever the camp, then you say he wasn't a true believer anyway. He wasn't a true representative anyway. Because by definition, the true representative stays in the camp or something like that. Or by definition, the true representative never does X, Y, Z. By definition, the true representative, so it's almost unfalsifiable, right? In the sense that you can, the true ones will always do
We'll
the
stick
right
to the
thing.
yeah. We'll stick
Yeah,
to that
yeah,
plan.
and the false ones will always leave. So that's the kind of like the no true Scotsman's fallacy. I think at least the best version of it. Otherwise, I don't think the no true Scotsman fallacy is a very good fallacy anyway, right? Because I think about it in the sense of causation, right? When I say think, what I mean by that is if somebody is performing certain or adhering to certain characteristics and so on, then it's going to be harder to say that he's not a follower or a member of one group or another, etc. So if somebody is if we want to describe a scientist as somebody who's conducts scientific experiments, is part of like some certain scientific bodies, he's got a PhD at least in the particular matter, right? He actually has some endorsement from certain other scientists. Whatever those essential requirements are, if they're there, then you are going to be a scientist. Yes, we can't just say he's not a true scientist or something like that, right? Would it be a no true Scotsman fallacy to say if somebody is not, for example, doesn't have a PhD in the particular field, isn't conducting scientific experiments. He's a plumber, right? He has no knowledge of science. Would it be no true Scotsman's fallacy to say he wasn't a real scientist? No, it wouldn't, right? So
Right.
so I think you can describe people like that, and in this case, you can describe Ridwan, apostate prophet, as somebody who may not have been, he wasn't rigorously philosophical because he wasn't, right? So when we say he's not truly a philosophical kind of atheist, it's like a claim about fact.
That might very well be true. Basically, I mean, from the
Yeah.
criteria that we have set therein, in those terms, I think what we might call him as might not be true rigorous kind of an atheist, basically philosophically astute atheist, maybe, if you want to call it that way, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but we are not even going into that we are saying now we are being uh, a little bitter about it. No, I think we are generally discussing as to what we thought. We probably
Yeah.
never came out with that thought. Now we are coming out with that thought that at least I didn't hear him much. Maybe in bits and pieces, I heard him here and there. Pretty much, that's about it. And that's the exact reason I'm explaining. I think, and I think I'm pretty sure that same is true with all of you, because we didn't see any meat in his arguments. Pretty much, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think all of us over here have a similar kind of approach, and I think there is a distinction between people who are agnostic slash atheists, based on any philosophical arguments, based on lack of philosophically or religiously rigorous arguments for God, and I mean such kind of people. And then there are people who are non-religious because of the fact that they have, for some reasons, found their religion to not be true or to be false or not something they're liking, and they have found similar things in other religions as well. So I think there's a difference between people who are non-religious, who don't associate with any religion, and therefore they are categorized as agnostics or atheists. They call themselves agnostic and atheists, but the basis of their belief is basically lack of belief in a religion rather than a lack of belief in a god. And I think that's where I think I would place AP. He was non-religious because he came out of a religion, based on, because he found things in that religion which he didn't seem didn't seem correct to him or right to him. And
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was.
and more likely than not, those were moral precepts that he thought didn't align with
Yeah,
his
but he
kind of.
also pointed out some scientific things as well, right? So he found
Yeah, 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 yeah.
some
I
problematic
totally
things,
agree. Right, right.
scientific things as well,
And
because he made some videos on that,
I just skimmed
which
through.
I think is a more, valid kind of argument if one is making that,
Yeah, yeah, true,
more than the moral
true
argument,
that. Yeah, yeah. I agree.
speaking on
I,
philosophical grounds.
yeah, yeah. I think one,
But
one.
he did mention moral arguments as well, or moral problems as well. Yes.
Right, right. And I think one of the videos that I think Madan posted, one of his main arguments was uh, doxastic discord, basically, right? And what that means is
Yeah.
basically that there are so many religions, and you are born into you follow the religion of your parents or forefathers, pretty much, right? And that was one of his primary
We kind of
argument
lost
that
you
I.
there.
Hmm?
We kind of lost you for a moment. Say it again.
I said one of his primary argument in the video that you posted uh, to us, or you sent to us, basically. One of his primary arguments with David Wood within that video clip that he's talking. So I just skimmed through that video a little bit further and to see what his arguments were. And his primary argument, at least the first argument that he mentioned, was the doxastic discord, basically, that there are so many religions and you follow the only religion that you think that the religion you're born into is the right religion, basically. So if your parents happen to be Jews and you're born in Israel, then you'll be a Jew. If you're born into India and your parents happen to be Hindu, you're going to be a Hindu, and so on and so forth, basically, right? And if you're in Arabia, you'll be a Muslim, and things like that, right? So that's the primary argument he got in terms of saying that why I don't believe in God, basically. And a tuned atheist, probably a philosophically tuned atheist, probably would say, hey, I find a problem in your KCA or contingency argument, or maybe transcendental argument, or some prime mover argument doesn't seem, or there is a problem, serious problem of evil that I find problematic. No matter how hard I try, I just can't fix it with any kind of theodicy or any kind of a defense, pretty much. So that's what I think. I mean, see, this is not to denigrate AP. I think I should say it out loud and very clearly that I have nothing against AP as such, nor anything against Ayaan Hirsi Ali, because we have her photo in there as well, and in our thumbnail. They perhaps found peace in where they are, probably. And
Mm,
if you want me to say that speculatively, I think their reasons were a little bit more different. And this purely on a conjecture on my part. I think they wanted to be safe, right? They felt the thunder of Salman Momika's assassination. I think, especially AP. Not the case with Ayaan Hirsi Ali. And he thought that he probably is safer being on Christian side than on atheistic side, because he saw he could still be critical and be part of a community that is probably much more
I think,
united rather than divided. And atheists,
I
for unfortunately, are not
think,
united.
I think you're
But that's my
making
thought.
a rather a big claim. At least for me, it seems like a big claim. Maybe
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
That's why I said it's a big
Yeah,
conjecture. It's a big
yeah,
conjecture. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah. You know what? For me, I think what I find maybe what I cannot relate to, or what I cannot understand, is how um, a person, and I think Mahadin in a way has already pointed that out, is that how a person who comes out of a religion and then he goes into another religion, which to me at least, seemingly, as far as I have read Christianity, it seems it has all the similar problems, all the very same problems that Islam has. So so for me, that's what confuses me. If someone becomes even a deist, um, I mean, I'm not even a little bit surprised, because I think Mahadin once said, and very rightly said, that there are people who cannot intuitively, they cannot imagine or accept the fact that the ultimate reality is not conscious, or maybe the underlying reality, or whatever is the cause behind it, was unconscious. There must be, or something personal, something interested in us, or something similar to us in certain way. So I think you know this. So if a person becomes a deist or a believer in a god, I think uh, despite being philosophically very savvy, and I think I would be able to empathize and sympathize with his reasoning somehow. I could say, okay, yeah, this is your reasoning. I can see what you're trying to say here. But going into an organized religion with, at least from what I know, seemingly all the same problems, that is what confuses me a bit.
Hmm. I think what one possible possibility is that because he's hanging around with David Wood, I think David Wood is giving him a lot of spin on all the potential terrible areas of Christianity, right? So
Mm,
his David Wood's version of Christianity, I think, which might be also a very popular version of it, is very compatible with secular American values, right? It's very non-state orientated in the sense that there's this one specific sort of religious doctrine. It's they generally believes in a church state separation, right? Generally believes in all of the similar kind of rights that you might find in the American Constitution, and I suspect somebody like AP would be okay with that, right? And maybe with that further spin on where did these values come from, which I think AP admittedly says that it can't, on a atheistic or secular universe, it's meaningless. That might be a point of like attraction for AP, that he thinks that these secular values was due to Christianity in the Enlightenment era. Human rights was a result of Christian advocates who sprung forth the momentum towards its implementation. And today, the only way you can have that bedrock of values is through Christianity or something like that. So that may play one part of a role. So, and if the similar kind of issues in Islam comes up in Christianity, like I'm pretty sure there's issues with, various different sort of abominable things in Christianity that might go contrast with AP's commitment to secular humanism. I think David Wood, what he would be doing is kind of excising those verses somehow, or making it seem like it was something else, in a way in which AP is not prepared for. Whereas he's prepared for it in Islam because he knows about it. I think David Wood is probably just, kind of, just advocated a kind of an appeasing version of Christianity and all those bad things that might be in there. It says slavery. David would be saying, no, the amendments came along and Christianity was behind
I
it.
think Madin, sorry, I beg to disagree with you here. I think AP is not that dumb to not realize those things. I mean, you have, I mean, as little as I have heard of him, I think he knows all those problems within those. I mean, there might be theodicies over there, but when you can apply the same theodicies on the Christian side, you can apply the same similar kind of theodicies on the Islamic side as well. And that's why I'm thinking that this whole thing, and my hypothesis kind of is a little bit more radical, but it comes after this thing when he started collecting, you know he opened the GoFundMe page for security and all those issues. And then maybe he was already in the making, a Christian in the making in past 1 year or so. But it seems like this kind of incident, Salman Momeka incident, may have been a catalyst in his decision making, I would say. But as you guys said, that's also a possibility. I think even Har Sultan has discussed the same kind of has the same thought as you guys have. But I think it's I'm thinking on a little bit different lines, basically. So I think I'm pretty sure that I mean, it baffles me basically as to the kind of problems that are there. I think there's very little difference that you can see the kind of problems that arise in Islam in terms of existence of a God and the moral issues that you encounter. Uh, there's not much of a difference within Christianity and Islam in terms of both of
No,
those.
what I'm saying, so I'm not talking about the philosophical arguments or theodicies. I'm talking about general scriptural interpretation. So I think David Wood can probably pull the wool over his eyes in the sense that he could probably justify the idea that slavery was never intended within Christianity. That in fact it was reformed eventually or something like that, and it was Christian advocates who did this. I'm not talking about theodicies in the sense that of philosophical theodicies in order to defend it that might be applicable to Islam as well, as much as it would be applicable to Christianity, right? Where he may have encountered those. What I'm talking about is actual.
And so what happens to those direct verses where in say Deuteronomy and all those Exodus, those explicit verses about slavery and all those? So you're saying that those interpretations to those have to be um, non-literalist interpretations?
Possibly. So
That's how he was explained about those.
what I know of David Wood in regards to those things is that David Wood is Christian in tongue, and in every other way he's like an atheist, right? He just
I mean, I see that point, but I mean,
yeah. So
he
he seems to be like an embodiment of what apostate prophet can embrace, which is that he can embrace all of his secular humanist values. Like David Wood, I don't think he's strictly against you know, I don't think I
Slavery.
don't think he's strictly against anything. To be honest, is David Wood? Is he traditionally conservative? I'm not even. I don't even think he's
I'm
traditionally
not quite
conservative.
sure what he
Yeah,
is. All I know is he's
yeah,
some kind of Christian.
yeah.
That's
He
that's
do,
all I know about it.
yeah, he doesn't really hold to this kind of regressive, outdated, conservative kind of God with a totalitarian system. And I think that might be quite appealable. And how does he I don't know exactly how he does it, but I don't think he comes out with theodicies per se. I think he just describes certain books being abrogated and or abolished, or words being twisted, or something's being descriptive or poetic. And you can do that with Christianity. You can read certain aspects of it not allegorically, right? And and I think maybe David Wood has done that. He's kind of created the impression that all these kind of seemingly bad things within Christianity, they're not really there. Unlike the literalism of the Quran. Unlike the literalism of the Quran.
I think I find it highly implausible, by the way, because it's the all the things that you said can be done with Islam as well, and
I think it's
it is done.
not.
It's not that it can be. It is done by a lot of believers.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's actually a lot harder to do that with Islam, because with Christianity, you've got secondhand accounts of what God said, etc. It's far more kind of broad in terms of theme. It talks about general ethical values, etc., and etc. And you can kind of therefore read it with a bit more elasticity. With Islam, you have the word of God, and you have far more concrete statements and behaviors and hadiths that are recommended to be followed. So it's harder to kind of have that sort of elasticity. Even Sam Harris mentions this. Sam Harris, in his criticism of Islam, and when he distinguishes Islam from Christianity, he actually says that Christianity is easier to morph and change and amend, right? Simply because Reformation is you can reform it. The book is the words and terminologies and etc. It's so broad that and open ended. You can do that with Christianity. Islam is much harder to do that. And I'm not saying people don't do that with Islam; they can, but I think with great more difficulty. It's a lot more difficult in Islam to, for example, get rid of the verse that says men are in charge of women, right? But I do think the Bible isn't supposed to be like that. The Bible isn't supposed to be a totalitarian system, right? And you're not supposed to just follow each act or action like word per word and incorporate it into your legal system and into your behavior. And I think David Wood's able to kind of therefore play on that and tell Apos that, look, Apos, sorry, my Mohammed Hijab calls him Apos, not
that's that's not
sorry.
nice. That's not nice.
Apostate prophet. No, the
AP
thing is,
AP.
I
Yeah.
actually thought for a bit Apos was his actual shorthand name for a minute, but then I
Yeah.
realized Muhammad
No.
Hijab, I used it as a derogatory name. So, but I got used to thinking of him as Apos.
Yeah.
But whatever the case, I think he did call himself APOS rather than APUS at some point. Am I right?
I'm not quite sure. It was probably tongue in cheek because Hijab had called him and he said, "Okay, I don't mind being called something like that or something."
Okay.
They had a big fight probably 2 3 years back or something like that.
Yeah.
A big fight and in terms of I think exchange of you know um, some really I think vulgar uh, things maybe not
Mm.
vulgar. I don't know. I think I think Muhammad Hijab brought in his wife into some discussion or something like that, probably.
Yeah.
But I could be
So
wrong. I
basically,
could be wrong.
yeah. So basically, all I'm saying is that sort of leeway is there for Christianity, because Christians are doing that today. So modern day Christianity is like that. It's exactly like that.
Yeah, I
You know?
mean, I would grant you that Christianity is slight bit more malleable in a sense that you can mold it a little bit more. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you can say that one claims to be a literal word by word, dictate from all-knowing being, and the other one is that God's understanding in human writing, basically, or something like that, basically. All right, we have Valentino Celeste Orlando, and we also have Z. I think I forgot Z's God is consciousness, right? Shall we bring him in before we run that short clip? Analyzing, I think we have already talked a lot about the emotional state of AP.
Well, let's just play the clip. Let's just play the clip and get out of the
All
way
right.
because it's only.
So, Zain, we're gonna play the clip, and maybe within a few minutes we'll take you in the stream.
It's only a 5 minute clip or so.
No,
So
is it a 5 minute clip, or it's probably only a minute clip or
minute
so?
clip, yeah. Sorry, yeah, minute clip, yeah.
It's, I don't know, there's something great about it. There's something awesome about it. I'm still not entirely sure where I will end up eventually, but maybe I just need to stop being so arrogant and so careful and skeptical, and just go the way when I feel like the way is calling out to me. And that's what I'm doing right now. I think I'm going to soon just explicitly say that I'm a Christian, because that's where I am. It's
All right. So my first few questions, intriguing questions, basically. How do you know that the way is calling you? Basically, I think it's I don't know, I don't know how to put it really nicely. It seems like he's like emotionally charged with uh, that call, probably. How? I don't know. It's just like he's made up his mind about it. He hasn't presented. Maybe it's just a short clip from a bigger clip where he has explained his reasons in a little bit more clear manner, but I don't see it. And all I see here is just like emotionally charged person saying, "Oh, okay, that that thing is calling me, and now from this point on, I'm a Christian." Basically, that's my take. What do you guys think, Kelly? Kelly, are you back?
Is he there?
He says, "I'll be back," and instantly I was reminded of Terminator 2, or was that in 1?
All right, I don't. Both. I think both Terminators have that in. That's a
I'll be
slogan now.
back. I'll
Yeah.
be back.
Well, what I say, look, I he has mentioned that he's flirted with Christianity in the past, he was close to it or something. I don't know. So let's put it through the lens of what you theorized, which this is like a movement towards a group that would provide him a sanctuary or protection, right? Now, how would you interpret this then? Would you be interpreting this as a political kind of stunt? Is he just pretending, or are you saying, it's multifactorial, that a substantive aspect of it is due to the shelter and sanctuary that Christianity will provide in terms of safety, right? Whereas there is an emotional aspect to it as well. But if you mean that is that
I
that
think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both.
so this is how you would explain this scene here. That this is the part of him that is actually
I think
um,
that probably those things in back of his mind have persuaded him into going into that emotional state where he thinks that, okay, this is what it is, basically. This is what is calling me. And it can happen. I think psychologically it can happen to somebody, when you're stressed out. I mean, of course, surely, if you'll be stressed out if you have like so many threats against you, basically your life is uh, you know under threat, severe threat. You're probably emotionally very vulnerable as well, right? So this is my take, though, by the way, but I
possibly, yeah.
could be wrong.
Yeah. I think it really depends. Yeah, so that might be the case. It could be the case that he needed that sort of kind of in group solidarity, etc. And so I'm trying to interpret then what he actually means by when he says that he's calling out to me and I'm being arrogant and skeptical. He calls himself arrogant, right? That's a tall claim. That's to say that there's persuasive, compelling, logical, analytical, whatever you want to call it, reasons, and he's just not abiding. He's not listening. Okay, well, I would like to know what those reasons were, and he's not provided that. He's not at any point said this was the grand reason. So far as I know, he's not. I don't think he's made a video on this, has he? About what was his fundamental primary reason to convert?
I don't think so. I mean, all I've seen is, I mean, see, as I said, I sporadically, I barely see his videos or streams or anything. And in past, whatever, how many ever time that I have seen a few, one I saw of one of his posts where community post where he said his wife has converted to Christianity. And probably a couple of weeks back, he said he felt really good going into a church. It was a good experience or something like that. And probably at that point, he was already into Christianity pretty much, right? And it's just that it was a matter of announcing himself to be a Christian, basically. So it may have taken him some time to announce it while he was already in that fold, basically.
Yeah, possibly so. Yeah, possibly so. I mean, I think it really depends of how he views Christianity. Maybe he's not thinking about the original. I say original. He's not thinking about Orthodox Christianity. He's thinking about some sort of loose, modern, progressive Christianity, the DW type Christianity, the Christianity that is far more accepting and nice. And maybe that kind of helped. Maybe there's a combination of other factors, including group allegiance and protection. But I'm not sure how Christians would protect him. Maybe it's not the idea that he's going to have bodyguards now from being killed, but he just has a team and that provides psychological support. He can go to a
That's a
church.
huge support, by the way,
Yeah.
Madan. That's a huge support because see,
Mm.
and this is something that we should criticize atheist community for. And there's no community as such, basically. I mean, it's not a cohesive community as such, right? And that is something that solace is something that's within the religion. There's no doubt about it, right? In Islam, it's much stronger than any other religion, and other religions it is much at a far greater degree than atheism or agnosticism, basically, right? So within Christianity, you have that solidarity. Even if you go to a mass, probably only on Sunday, right? Sunday, if you're a mass goer, Sunday to Sunday, you still meet with the community that gives you some kind of a hope, right? In terms of whatever it may be, right? So I think that's a big help, I think. And even if it's connected to what my thought was, basically, I think that seems plausible to me, right? Whatever threats you may have against you, if you meet people who are within that fold, you have that, there's someone on my back, basically. There are less chances of me, getting in the harm's way rather than when I'm all by myself, right?
Maybe so. But is it really the case that there is no other wider support network other than Christianity, or not none just as good? Because I do think, at least in the internet realm, there is a large group of secular humanists. There is a massive kind of emphasis on ex-Muslim community, etc. There is that available. I think if he was in closer contact with other ex-Muslims, he would have had that aspect as well. So what this is telling me that it's somewhat a combination of all these things. Possibly the fact that, one, he was already connected to David Wood, and through that he's got a connection to a network of Christians, and possibly two, that it's just more than just I need protection, I need a group. It's also the fact that he was stirred by these arguments, Because this particular group that he now has to engage in, he has to engage in some degree of worship, right? So
Do you think J Dyer convinced him?
I don't know. I don't know.
No, I'm just
I
kidding. I'm
don't
just
know.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but my point is he has to engage in some degree of worship. So therefore, the idea of it just being predominantly a group thing seems a little bit. This is why Kylie was saying he's a bit skeptical about that, because he needs to now as a Christian do certain things that he wouldn't have otherwise done, which is actually worship God, consciously believe God, right?
No, but you don't necessarily have to worship God, right? You can pretend to do that, or you can not do it, and nobody's gonna question you. I mean, it's not as hard and fast as if you
Well,
were even when you are
then,
a Muslim, you don't a lot of Muslims don't do that. So
yeah, but then we're going back.
it's
Okay,
not
but then
as
we're going.
strict as, I mean, it's
Yeah.
even less stricter than when you're a Muslim, right? So that's probably out of the question. Anyway, we have a comment from our own Syed, sorry, not Said Bhai. Said Bhai also has a comment, by the way, but Syed has a comment. So Ugba, I'm thinking it's Ugba's comment. I think his emotional desperation might have led him to this, and Christians and Christianity were immediately available to him due to his associations with DW. I think, yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons. He was already much closer to DW. And I'll have to give it to DW, basically. He has that probably some persona or something that he can convince people. Case in point being Nabil Qureshi, right? Nabil just he just got Nabil out of the fold of Islam probably like 20-25 years back. How long back was that? 2005 6 or something like 6 7, something like that, right? So that was still like 15-16 years back he got. So he has that ability to do that basically with anybody, right? So he probably was able to do that with
Yeah. So the thing is,
atheism.
we need to be clear on what we're saying here, though, because if the point that you made that he doesn't actually have to worship, he can just pretend, goes back to the theory that he's pretending, which would be again a tall claim to make, right? Because that means in this video he's just pretending and acting, right? I'm not saying you can't pretend to be a Christian, but I don't. It's not very obvious that he is, right? Because then what we have to accept then this video, the primary a big motivation behind this particular video is that he's just acting, you know. But
No,
if you
I'm not saying he's like pretending as in like uh, all of it is pretense. I'm saying he's loosely accepted that basically, right? Given all these things basically, and that's hard. I mean, I would be really surprised that he's like all, he's just bathed into Christianity at this point, that he's just like totally convinced. I would be very, very surprised if that were the case. You see the point I'm trying to make, that he might be loosely convinced, he might be very faintly convinced, but back of his mind all those thoughts were there, and that's why he got into that mold of loosely convincing himself. And so he's not pretending. I mean i mean he's not pretending 100% here, but it's still there is that element of pretense over there, and he's like accepted that's my fate basically, in a sense.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
which
it's
means
it's a it's speculative, I'm saying, as in.
yeah. No, the reason I'm saying that there has to be an aspect of genuinity behind the spiritual acceptance of Christianity's foremost claims. Reason being, otherwise he does may not be the same sort of size and quality, perhaps. But I would wager that it's almost there in terms of, or at least online. Maybe you're not going to find that outside in walking around, right? But I mean, you would find secular alternatives, yes, but they're not going to be particularly focused on atheists. When I say a secular alternative, in the UK government, for example, you might go for counselling, and you might speak to a counsellor. That's secular advice. but that's not specifically tailored to religious kind of community kind of engagement, right? That's just a doctor that happens to be in a secular country that doesn't subscribe to a religion, but they're not kind of grouped together in under one heading or under one flag. Whereas on the internet, you can actually find that. You can actually find a lot of AP's fans, for example, they're ex-Muslims, they're secular humanists, etc. And you could have found that sort of support had he been part of that group a bit more fundamentally. But instead, he's been part of the David Wood clique. So he just happened to steer in that direction. But if there was no spiritual aspect to this, no genuine kind of philosophical change in his mind on his views on theism and towards worship even, I think it wouldn't make any sense to choose Christianity over any of these other groups.
I think the difference being he already has one person who's close to him, and a person who's in person closeness with a group versus online support or something. I don't know how many people he knew personally. I think he would have been very suspicious of getting connected with people whom he met online versus people like DW, whom he has met personally, roamed around Israel with him personally, and all those things. So that's my take, that he would probably feel much more at ease with a society where he can go and meet them in person rather than an online support. But again, I see my hypothesis, as I said, is purely radically
Where is
different.
where is he based, by the way? Where is Ridwan based?
I don't know, somewhere in US basically.
Somewhere in USA. Okay.
Yes. All right, Syed has a few more comments for us. Let's see. I think that the personal experience of feeling the need for a spiritual entity to worship, to humble you down, is of great value. Personally, I have started to respect personal experience a lot. So, Syed, are you becoming a Christian as well, or are you turning back to Islam, Sunni Islam or Shia Islam? Which one? Because even for atheism, the reason is not the encounter with strictly formal arguments for evil. Instead, is the realization at the level of personal experience, the encounter with suffering, which leads the person out of religion. It's only after that realization when the person records the finalized version of his experience in the form of LPOE, EPOE.
Well, that's true, but that's because
then there's a yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the strength of your personal experience as an atheist is, as Syed has already mentioned, can be formalized into a plausible, successful argument that has more basis than, for example, the strength of your personal experience that you might have from, let's say, a spiritual personal experience with maybe God or some spirits, right? The intuitive reaction that you might have to suffering may then eventually get formalized into a structured argument. But that is the argument that gives justification.
Hold on, Madan. We lost Zain. He had been waiting for a long time. Zain, if you are listening, please do join.
Yeah, I think you should have added him before, but yeah. So
I
so
did.
the argument,
I did, and I did even say that we'll take you on in 5 minutes. But we love to talk.
Yeah, I mean, very similar to the idea that the sky is blue, or trees produce oxygen. You may kind of notice that trees and plants produce some sort of life systems, but then with further kind of arguments and verification and empiricism, we justify that initial suspicion. And similarly, the kind of reflexive or intuitive understanding of the problem of evil, you may encounter something like suffering. In and of itself, isn't the be all or end all of I would say that is kind of emotional without a formalized argument. Is after you encounter the suffering, let's say, and you think intuitively, wait a minute, why am I suffering so much? This doesn't make sense if God is good. And then kind of steering into the literature or formalizing into an argument, and seeing if the argument succeeds, the outcome of that should decide whether atheism is true, not the experience itself, right? The experience is not the be all and end all, and that's what we're saying. And so with atheism, you have the arguments to justify it. With spiritual personal experience, some people say that personal experience is the argument or is the proof, But until and unless
All
you
right.
formalize experience,
Yeah, Zen, if you're listening, you can join back in, and we'll take you within a minute.
yeah, until and unless you formalize the personal experience and try to then verify or establish why one is it was a plausible experience versus other interpretations, you can't hold that with any sort of veracity, right? And that's all that's kind of what it is. So unlike the problem of evil, the personal experience argument doesn't go through.
Yeah, I do agree. That's how I wanted to respond to Syed Ugba, basically. Anyway, Kali, are you back? Kali seems to. Kali, we can't hear you if you're saying anything. You're on mute. Can you hear us? I don't know if you can. All right. I think we lost Zan as well. All right. What do we do now? Yeah, that's about it. I think I don't have any more to add to this whole AP saga. Basically, I mean, I think the way I made the thumbnail, I thought I wanted to talk a lot more about the reasons, and you can see maybe if you if what you two are saying, and there definitely was an emotional component to what happened to Ayaan Hirsi Ali. But remember, she has been there have been she has been what do you call one of the prominent ex-Muslims, pretty much, and she has had a extremely tough life, basically. So that emotional component is much more exaggerated in terms of Ayan's case as compared to AP's case, right? So and the ordeal that Ayan went through all throughout her life, starting from, I think she was a Somali, right? Starting from Somalia to all the way to wherever she got to Netherlands, and so I think that took a huge toll on her uh, psychological or on her psyche, pretty much, right? And that emotional toll finally got converted into her into Christianity, pretty much. That's how I think. So I think those two cases are slightly different, even though there's a emotional component in AP's case as well. I think that emotional component is not as strong as Ayan's case. But that's about how much I'm going to comment on Ayan's case, unless you want to add something to it.
Well, I think she was a little bit more explicit about why she kind of likes Christianity, and she thinks it's like a bulwark against Islamic invasion. It's like a
It's a
response.
defense kind of,
Yes. And she thought, and she actually also thinks that, for example, modern day kind of secular world, without some sort of strong abiding force, will collapse indeed, and break down and fracture into kind of subgroups. Feminists, conservatives, progressive woke individuals, social justice warriors, people with no religion, not going anywhere. There's not a strong enough kind of coordination. And she actually expressly says this, that, for example, it's hard. It's without religion, kind of families are breaking down. People are just becoming individuals. Communities are breaking down. So it's not necessarily clear how literally she believes in the kind of philosophical or theological aspects. But in terms of social structure, she actually explicitly says that Christianity is a powerful, attractive device that held together civilization or will hold together civilization. And without that, people are just they're kind of losing the sense of groupness to things, right? Etc. So she says it. She kind of says it. It is whether or not it's exclusively a political motivation that she's got rather than a philosophical one. It's not known. I've not followed her since, and maybe it's become more of a theological, philosophical one now. But I do recall in the beginning that she was mentioning the political advantages of siding with Christianity, because it is the only other force now that can oppose Islam, because the other ones, the left, the secular left, for example, is calling everything that she does Islamophobic. She thinks that feminists and other groups and political ideologies, they're kind of breaking apart the society into individuals and little individual factions with their own political interests, and there's nothing really there for her to find a place in. So she actually is more explicit about it, and is more
Yeah, I mean,
consistent.
I remember having heard those things from her in the very beginning, but later on, I think someone asked her this question: how much do you believe in Christianity or something? I don't know who asked that question in one of the interviews, and she said, "I do believe Christianity to be true," basically, and that was her very explicit statement as well. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's a mix of both. As we are talking about the AP's case, I think it's a mix of both. As I think in AP's case, I think same is true in Ayan's case as well. I think maybe she took a pragmatic decision over there in terms of realizing that if she has to be an active, what do you call, uh, a warrior. I don't know if warrior is the right word against Islam, then she has to probably take a shelter in Christian arena, pretty much, right? That's probably how I would put it. And she maybe just somewhat believes in some of the precepts of Christian, theology, but maybe just for the namesake, probably.
Yeah, I mean, getting her to answer the question, how, do you believe in Christianity? Do you believe? And her saying yes, I don't think it really sheds that much light, simply because even people like Jordan Peterson say yes, they believe in Christianity, and then when you ask them, do you believe in the literal virgin birth? And then he starts kind of nitpicking. What do you mean by literal? What do you mean virgin birth? What is a virgin, right? Then you have to ask him clearly. No. What I mean is
Yeah.
it a historical fact that
And Jordan Peterson is a different kind of a
exactly.
being. Basically, he
But
would
that's what
question
I'm
what
saying,
is
though.
what
Even
do you
my
mean by what?
people like Ayaan and everything. They're kind of on the same kind of horse as Jordan Peterson, it seems, because it's people like Peterson and people like Ben Shapiro and all these other people that kind of parroted this idea of human rights and Enlightenment values and secular values came out of Christianity, right? And whether or not Ayaan therefore literally believes it, there's a force for political attraction there, and political work there, and henceforth, what you're saying about Jordan Peterson is he being exceptional. Well, I actually think there's a close proximity between her and Peterson, because I think Peterson's arguments and Peterson-like thinking had motivated people like Ayaan, which is harder to say for Ridwan, for Apostate Prophet, because we don't have any explicit statement from him about the political aspects of Christianity. I don't think so anyway. I've not seen it. We have seen it for Ayaan, where she's actually gone on paper to say that she sees a lot of benefits to it. This is why when she says something like, I do believe in Christianity, it's harder for me to actually think that, wait a minute, does she actually literally believe it, or is it like Jordan Peterson? Is it more like Jordan? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think KP has gone missing. KP, are you taking your are you taking your shahada or getting baptized? Kelly, are you there? Okay, Kelly has gone missing. All right.
Only it's funny. You actually leave yourself online on a live stream, and you leave. He's so unbothered. Just let's go on a live stream and just go. Let's leave without you know.
Kelly is yeah. All right. So, Madan, I think we should close the stream uh, because we don't have any callers.
Unless anybody wants
I'll
to
just
join.
appeal to the callers. I'll appeal to the callers. Anyone who wants to join. You haven't joined in a long time. I know you can't. So, but if you can, then you can join as well. Or apologies to Zain, and I'll say that with all sincerity. So if you want to join next time, if you can't join today itself, that's perfectly fine. And if you want to join next time, I think what we'll do is as soon as you join, we'll take you in immediately and talk to you to make up for
I think
your
Syed wants to.
disappointment today.
Do you want to add Syed? We've not had
Said,
him in a while.
Said Madin wants to talk to you. Are you there?
No, he's already here. He's already here.
Oh,
Oh,
Assalamu
okay, okay.
alaikum, bhai. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
He's
हाँ
How
already
are
भाई
you
here.
doing?
जी हाँ मेरे को तो ये इंग्लिश में बोलूं या उर्दू में
English, because this is an English stream.
okay you know Ashan Ali when she was I think it's 5 or 10 years ago she was trying to tell to Muslim to convert to Christianity. He was to make a pope to make, even she was about to force Muslim to convert to Christianity. She was giving this kind of hint. She was think that was Christian bombing Muslim countries. All over the. She think they can do whatever they want. So even forced conversion she was trying to do. She was very afraid of Islam going to spread in the all over the world. She had very anxiety about this. She always talk about dawa. That is for her. She even mentioned as a dawa as a terrorism. Yeah, dawa for a form of terrorism. So she was feeling very anxiety for this kind of thing about the future of
Would fearful be a
Islam.
right word?
Was that?
Would fearful be the right word to explain what she
Yeah,
said?
no, she people are still fear of phobia, Muslim, non-Muslim in the Christian. Now even politician expressing fear of Islam because of its very attractive religion. They're talking about the secular media. I'm channel. There is a channel, yeah, GB in UK. She talk about the oppression of Muslim women. So this was not any kind of news, but just religious oppression. She was talking about in the secular channel GB, British channel. So they are afraid Islam may take over world, and Islam is taking over Western countries because not because Islam is a true religion or God exists, just because people want to join Islam because it gave them a guidance, it gave them a life guidance to live by. So Western country do not have, West people do not have a guidance how to live life. They're just living, whatever they desire, what they're living in lifestyle. So Islam gave them a structure how to what do's and don'ts. So people like
So,
this. So yeah.
do you do, Kelly? I'm saying, Kelly, are you back? Saeed, do you think that that's a good approach that people are converting to say whatever religion X based on their feelings?
Yeah,
Is
Well,
that
that's
good
good.
or bad? Is that good or bad?
Uh,
Philo,
uh,
before we even go into that, that's not a factual claim that you made, Saeed, that people in the West, the reason why Islam is attractive or is growing in the West is because of conversion
No,
rates. That's not,
for the sake of argument, if I let's to move the argument forward. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Would you say people should believe? I think there is this kind of you know epistemically something might be justified, basically the truthfulness of it, and then you believe in it, or do you have a need for it? Basically, you feel for it, right? Which one is it, basically?
People are if get they are getting a benefit
So,
from
so
converting.
what I mean to say, let me explain it clearly. One is your epistemic rationality, and the other one is your pragmatic rationality, right?
he's not gonna understand any of that. He's not gonna understand any of that.
Okay, okay.
What I would just press on is that fact that it's not even true. Said, when you say, for example, that Islam is growing in the West or something because of conversion rates, that's not even true. How do you
No,
how do you understand that? How do you substantiate that?
even secular leaders
Mhm.
express fear of Islam spreading.
But that's not the same thing that is growing due to conversion rates.
It doesn't matter. They express fear of Islam is going
That's
on
something
spread.
else because I'm challenging you on the point that
You take the Hassan Ali. Why she convert to his Christianity? Because she want to promote Christianity. That's why she convert to Christianity. That's the
that's not
main reason. No, she does not converting because Christianity is a true religion. Jesus is God. No. She convert to stop the spread of Islam. That's her main purpose of converting to. She
right.
expressed many times spreading Islam. She expressed
Uh-huh.
many times, and
All
she
right. So
even called dawa. Dawa she called the dawa a terrorism.
right. You're not even dealing with what I'm saying. I'm saying, how did you justify the idea that it's happening due to conversion rates? That's all. The reason that we know, for example, Islam has some sort of stock in the West or something like that, a growing population, is for two majority factors. One, immigration. Two, birth rates. Let me repeat: one, immigration. Two, birth rates. Of course, if the West goes to the East, for example, there'll be more people who are Western. If similarly the East comes to the West, there will be more people who are Eastern. And in this specific case, if Muslims flock to the West in large numbers and large groups, and they have a high birth rate, for example, they have 4 to 5 kids, then compared to the non-Muslim population who might have less than two, then you're going to have a growing danger of Islam expanding. That has nothing to do with conversion rates.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Muslim are
I think
producing.
somewhat similar things are happening in Japan itself as well. In Japan, the native Japanese birth rate is falling down to close to 1.5 or even close to 1.25 or something. But the immigrant population and especially Muslim population birth rates are much higher. So even there, you can see those kind of numbers, basically statistics.
Yeah, yes, it's true. It's true. Muslim population birth rate in the Western country is higher than other community, and
Yes.
plus,
So
yes,
the
yes,
reason I think
I accepted that. I accept that,
no,
and
okay,
plus, yeah.
yeah.
Let,
The
let,
reason I'm
let me
saying
finish. Let me finish. Plus, immigration. Lot of Muslim immigration. Last 10, 20 years. So, lot of Muslim immigration. That's also the second reason for population growth. A third one is a conversion. That this is also a fact. Okay, it may be slowly, but it is slowly. It's a beginning. That's why it's slow, but it will take a rapid growth of conversion.
I
This
think there is a problem in your methodology,
yeah,
Syed. Let me explain what
yeah,
there
go for
is.
it.
Right. So first thing first, you have the conversion numbers. Let's see, there is a positive conversion from whites to Islam, basically, or Western people to Islam. They may be Hindus, Sikhs, or white Christians, or whatever you may have. Right. Let's say their number is X. What you can't count therein is the number of people who are getting out of Islam as well. And out of those people who are converting, how many are coming out of Islam? after say X number of years or Y number of years, right? So you don't have a whole picture in here. But yeah, I mean, you can say there is a conversion, but the numbers are going higher up due to the reasons that Madan has mentioned, right? First up
you,
is very high birth rates, and second is immigration, right? And those are like
Yeah.
exponentially
So,
um,
yeah,
compounding
yeah.
each other, basically.
Yeah.
you,
So Philo is absolutely correct. Let me just kind of strengthen his point because there have been studies on this, and you can even on Wikipedia, you can read Wikipedia on Islamic conversion rates in the West. If you read Wikipedia, most experts they're not agreeing with what you're saying, Syed, which is that conversion rates has a massive effect or even a tiny effect. At this moment, the studies suggest that the conversion rates are negligible to non-existent. Right? What I mean by that is exactly what kind of Philo says, because in order to know are successful, in order to know if conversion rate is having an effect on the growth. Let me repeat. I'm not saying people don't convert to Islam. I'm saying, does the conversion rate have an effect on the growth of Islam? In order to know that, you do need to know the number of people who are leaving Islam. And insofar that we do know, a lot of experts say we can't even measure that. We can't even measure properly the non-Muslim, the ex-Muslim rate, let's say, leaving Islam rate. But insofar we can, in terms of some of the data that we do have, it seems as though the exit rate is either equal, if not exceeds, the known conversion rate. And it's more likely, the experts believe, that the conversion rate will be registered and the exit rate will not be registered due to the stigma, due to the family breakouts, and due to the ill will that you might get, death threats or something. But even then, the available data that we have, that we can just kind of dig out, despite the stigma, shows that the exit rate is either equal or exceeds the entry rate. So therefore, it's not having any substantial or even negligible effect on the overall growth of Islam.
the leaving apostasy from Islam started. People in Quran mention a lot of things. People are coming to Islam and leaving Islam. There is from beginning this happened. After all this, Muslim have taken over 52, 53 countries over the in 1500. Just imagine people are converting. They will convert, many will leave. Okay, yeah, but overall, Islam gonna take over the all the countries. Another thing, this is the beginning. When you see the Islam was growing in 60s, there were black people were accepting Islam. Only black people you see. Then later on, the white male female joined Islam. When male joined, white male joined Islam. Now you see the people, young white people are joining Islam, like Lily J. She became a da'i. She's doing dawa in the world, and these young people, white people, will be very good dawa for spread Islam, and this is the white people going to spread Islam in the West. So this is you are neglecting this kind of thing. You this is only
So, statistic don't care for will be, right? Statistics care for what is, basically, right? So, whoever joins it, whether it be President Donald Trump or whatever, right? Or whoever it is, right? The young icon or the old icon or whatever, right? What happens is, are they able to influence people or not, right? And if they can, perfectly fine. We'll see the results. For whatever the name you mentioned, that girl from, I think, Australia, right? Lily J, right?
yeah, yeah.
I think her arguments are pretty. I think I have responded to her arguments in a couple of her videos or maybe short clips, and I think her arguments are. She's one of those which Madan and Kali would agree with me that her arguments are mostly emotional, probably, right? And she doesn't give a damn to anybody who points out flaws in her arguments. Basically, maybe she is unable to read, or if she even gets to read some of these responses to her arguments, she just doesn't give a damn, pretty much. So that's how it is,
Yeah,
right?
she. I don't believe she convert to Islam because Islam is a true religion. She only see benefit. Islam gave you her structure, a law, do and don'ts. She like that one thing. This is
Yeah,
the only.
I agree. I agree in that sense. That's why I said pragmatic rationality
But that's
versus
okay. I mean,
epistemic rationality.
you
And
you
you
know,
you said it. You
yeah, yeah.
said it. Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you, the people who accept Islam, convert to Islam from beginning, from the pagan, they all convert to Islam because Islam gave them a structure, do and don'ts. They only basis on that they convert to Islam, not because they realize Quran, they study Quran and realize is from God. Nobody, they were illiterate people. They all just convert to Islam based only Islam gave them do and don'ts, how to live life. They like it that and they convert to
So
Islam.
they weren't Muslims then. So they didn't believe in God. They didn't believe in Messenger. They didn't believe in the Quran. They didn't believe in the oneness of God. They didn't believe in any of these edicts. They didn't believe in, for example, Messenger is the last messenger. Are you saying that? So they weren't Muslims.
What do you say? I don't understand. What do you say? I missed
I said,
something.
so they were not Muslims then. Yeah, they didn't believe in the oneness of God. They didn't believe in,
No,
the five pillars. They don't believe in Muhammad was the final messenger of God. They didn't believe in Allah, monotheism. They didn't consciously believe any of these things.
no, they do not understand Quran or nothing they understand about Islam. They only like it. This is giving us a guidance how to live because when they were pagan, they have no law, no structure how to live life. So they were doing whatever they like, and it's creating anxiety for them. The society, the pagan Quraysh society, they are fighting among
Let
themselves,
me just
and
okay.
so
Let me just address something that you mentioned then. So when you were talking about the idea that eventually Islam is going to grow and spread. First of all, this stokes lots of kind of fears amongst the far right who also make similar arguments. And do you know what I mean by the far right in terms of the political spectrum? Right wingers, right in the UK or in the USA, rednecks, people, Trump supporters. Trump racist people, some people who think, for example, Arabs are going to take over, Muslims are going to take over, etc.
and
And
they
I
are
am
right. They are
right.
correct
Here's
about
the
that.
thing. I know that's what I'm trying to say. You seem to be in complete agreement with them, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is, vast majority of people think that they're being irrational and they're being
No.
highly.
No,
Just
they
one
are
moment. Let me finish what I'm
okay.
saying.
Okay,
Vast,
go ahead.
vast, the vast majority of people think they're being irrational and they're being highly paranoid, right? And I'm not saying they're entirely wrong. Islam, in the sense of immigration, that is a potential theoretical issue, right? However, there is you're not looking at it carefully or properly, right? When you're thinking about projections into the future, for example, the Islamic population is going to increase, and then you're going to have a potential Islamic dominance or Muslim dominance. What these kind of outlooks are not taking into account is that over time and over generations, one, the birth rate will change. Two, right? Two, the Islamic essentialism, literalism, adherence to the code is going to change over time as well. And that's also another current that's happening simultaneously and parallel with what you're talking about. So whilst it is true that Muslims through immigration and birth rates, by the way, not conversion rates, immigration and birth rates are increasing, what is also simultaneously true is that atheism, secularism, feminism, progressivism, this is what Daniel Hakikichu talks about. He says there is a danger over time that Islam is going to get watered down, turn secular, turn democratic, become liberal, become soft, and the old classical antiquity of type of antiquated form of Islam is going to go. You're going to end up with progressive Islam, very different what we talked about or what we talk about classical Islam. In fact, the Islam in about 100 years is going to look very different. So we have to take that aspect as well when we're measuring this, right? It's not the case that in 50 to 100 years you're going to have a global caliphate, right? It's highly unlikely, I would say, given the speed And this is even speed of the growth of secular democracies. And that is a big danger that Muslims talk about, like Tani Hakikuchu.
You know that what is Andrew Tate? You think he studied Quran and he realized this is the word of God? No, he does not even know about what is Islam. The only reason he convert to Islam because Islam has a do and don'ts structure
Sure.
for life. That's why he can convert to Islam.
That is compatible with what I'm saying. I'm saying for every one Andrew Tate, without knowing the number of Muslims who are leaving, number of Muslims who are becoming liberal, without knowing the number of Muslims who are being secular, who are saying, yes, I am a Muslim, but not praying, drinking, etc. You can't praise, oh, we've got one Andrew Tate. For every one Andrew Tate, there may be 10, ex-Muslims, 10 Salman Rushdies, 20 Salman Rushdies. That's the point. That's the problem with the statistics.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I know my own daughter. She leave Islam and she come back. She come back later on because without a structure, without a a purpose of life, you get anxiety, depression, and then they will the ex-Muslim will come back to Islam again. So I have no problem with that. Muslim are
Yeah, but you're not thinking about it properly. You're not thinking about it properly. Ex-Muslims might, because so the idea that, by the way, before we proceed, Philo, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
I'm just wondering why you're going so quiet.
No, I'm listening. Yes. All I'm saying to Syed is, I think my very first question stands. Basically, I think we have gone into a huge tangent here. I mean, my question to Syed was very simple. Is it good to have that? I mean, everybody comes. Is it okay for you that Islam not being true and you still adhere to it?
No, people, nobody come to Islam.
No, I'm asking you. You see, you go into tangents.
Any reason if people want to come to Islam, it's
I'm
a good
asking
reason.
you.
Yeah.
I'm asking you. You have to think. You have to answer the question that is being asked. You have a problem here. You and Waqas have a problem.
People come to
That
Islam for
the very question that is asked, you never answer those questions.
Yeah, I'm telling you, people do not come to for one reason because Islam is true. People come to Islam is give them a
No, I'm not
structure,
talking
many
about
reasons.
you. I'm
Some
not
people,
talking. I'm
some
not talking
people
about.
just like
Did you
one God.
understand the question? Did you understand the question?
Okay,
I'm
ask me
asking
again.
you. I'm asking you, Saeed. Are you okay Islam not being true and still adhere to it because it gives you some peace of mind or whatever?
Yeah, that's okay.
That's
Even if
okay.
if there is no God and Islam is false and Islam giving them some peace of mind,
So
for me it's okay.
why not then Hinduism?
No, they do not give you a structure of life, role of life. They do not give. That's
Yes,
why
they do.
people do not
Have
convert to
have you
those
have you
religion. People
have
are
you have you
Christian
seen?
are living Christianity because they
No,
does
that's
not
what you think. That's
even
what you think, right?
uh,
That's what you think. Because
Andrew Tate mentioned that
Forget Andrew
Christianity has
Tate. Andrew Tate
no
is one
structure of
person.
life.
Forget Andrew
see,
Tate.
Andrew
Andrew
Tate
Tate is
is
one
one
person.
person. There are
I don't
there,
give a
there are
damn.
so many.
The
There are
whole
so many. Hold on. Listen.
Hold on. Look at the example that we're talking about here. We got Ridwan and Ayaan Hirsi Ali, who finds more peace, tranquility, maybe mental health benefits from Islam and from Christianity, which they didn't find in Islam. So why are you just mentioning Andrew Tate?
no, she leave Islam because she begin to hate Islam. That's why she leave
Exactly.
Islam.
So she didn't find peace then, did she?
No,
Well,
no.
he just. So this is what I'm saying.
She still do not have peace. Okay, she's just faking. Jesus is God. How can she believe in Jesus as a God
He doesn't need to. It's
when
pragmatic.
she
Like
used
you
to
said,
believe
it's
she
pragmatic.
he
He doesn't.
listen.
It's
How
pragmatic. It's a mental health support.
Jesus
You said
was
what
a
you said.
two-legged
It doesn't
man.
matter if it's true. It doesn't matter if Christianity is true as long as it provides the mental health support.
So then why you rejecting Islam provide the mental health?
Because it didn't provide the mental health support.
No, people are coming to Islam because of they
Not
have
every single one.
mental
So look,
problem, health
hold on,
problem.
hold
They
on,
converting
simplifying.
to.
You're
Look,
oversimplifying a complicated
Mu-
topic.
Mus-
For Ayaan Hirsi Ali in Somalia, her background, the Islam there was not comforting to her mental health, right?
she Hassan
Christianity
Ali
is. Exactly. Yeah.
Hassan Ali converted because she was atheist and she had no peace of mind. So that's why she joined the Christianity. Not because Islam do not give her peace of
Oh,
mind.
so let me get this straight. She went from Islam, then become an atheist, but then she didn't find peace in atheism. So instead of going back to Islam, she went to Christianity. So,
No, because
No, but
she
see,
hate
see if
Islam. She hate
hold on,
Muslims. She hate Islam. So how can she come back to Islam?
why did she?
Said, hold on, Said, you said anyone converting to Islam uh, does so because they don't find peace in whatever they were
Correct.
before.
Main reason
So,
is they do not have
right.
peace
So
of
somebody
mind.
was a hold on, listen to me. Somebody was a Christian converted to Islam because they didn't find peace in Christianity. Now,
Correct.
with the same token, somebody can say Ayaan or Hirsi Ali didn't find peace in Islam
No, no.
and found peace
In
in.
atheism. In
No,
atheism.
hold on. Let's finish the whole argument first. She didn't find peace in Islam, and that's why she found peace in atheism, and that's why she converted to atheism, right? Now, it may be true that she didn't find as much peace in atheism as she did in Christianity, right? So she converted to Christianity. Would that be
She
a would that be a logical inference on the same lines of logic that you were following?
look. She still does not have peace of mind.
You
Okay,
have
she
high expectations.
no. She was does not have a peace of mind because now she think if I
No,
promote Christianity,
I'm just showing the absurdity of your argument, Said.
Yeah,
You need to think of what we are explaining, right?
yeah.
You have to
Because look, you're
understand that
saying,
your absurd logical,
yeah.
you come when you come to Philo Sapiens channel, your arguments will be shattered to smithereens.
No, I'm just laughing. Sorry. Well,
oh
let me put it a bit softly to Saeed without smashing it to smithereens. But the point,
Yeah.
what we're trying to say is that when you see somebody leave Islam, leave Islam and go to some other thing, you say it's because they hated that, right? On the other
yeah,
hand, when we show you that somebody for example joined Islam, right? We could similarly say that they hated the other thing. They hated secularism. They hated atheism. Do you
yeah,
not
yeah,
see that? So you're just picking and choosing, right? There's no
yeah.
reason for us to think that Islam gives any more peace than any of the other things. So when somebody goes from atheism to Islam, yeah, we can easily say, well, they hated atheism. Just like you're saying, when somebody goes from Islam to atheism or Islam to Christianity, that they just hated Islam. So you have a double standard there. No amount of people leaving Islam shows that Islam is bad for your mental health. But one situation of somebody joining Islam from something else, it shows that the other thing was bad for their mental health, and Islam was some sort of powerful, attractive sanctuary for mental health. It's a double standard.
Yeah, no, but it's true. No Western white
No,
people
it's
are
not true.
converting.
That's not true.
Let me so let's explain. No Western country white people are converting to Islam because of Islam is a true religion. They
That
only
doesn't matter.
trying to find the peace of mind.
Said, you are repeating the argument. This is the third time you are saying the same thing.
Yeah,
Third
Yeah,
or
because
fourth, I forgot.
it is
Saeed,
But
you
true.
don't get the point. You don't get the point that there's more people
you did
leaving
you
Islam.
understand what
Yeah.
Madin and I explained to you, right? Did you
Mhm.
understand the point?
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Yeah,
What
what
was
you
it?
guys
What
saying
was it?
is true too. It's true too. What are you saying is true. But overall, Islam gonna take over the world.
How do you know that?
It's,
Everyone is looking for peace of mind. Some
it's
people find it in atheism, some people find it in Christianity, some people find it in deism.
no, no.
That's what happens.
Every religion give you peace. It's not like it's the only Islam gonna give you peace. No,
So then why are you
religion.
why do you think that Islam will ultimately win over or over ride every other religion?
Yeah, because Islam makes sense. Today, look, people are looking for reason,
But wait a second.
rationality.
No. Wait a second. You contradicted yourself.
Said, you need
You
to
just
understand that
contradicted
you are
yourself.
contradicting yourself.
You just said that people
So-
are accepting Islam not because it makes sense to them, they accept Islam even
No,
in the
no.
West because it appeals to their satisfaction
Sorry,
to,
Yeah,
sorry
yeah,
for my burst of
yeah,
laughter.
yeah, exactly. So I
yeah,
mean, and then you just immediately switched over to another point and said now Islam will prevail because it makes sense. No, people don't care. According to what you said, people don't care what makes sense to them or what
yeah,
actually makes sense, what is actually true. What people go towards is what gives them satisfaction and peace of mind. And
yeah,
there are many things that give peace of mind, and different people get peace of mind from different things. So
yeah.
then you have no reason to believe except your faith that Islam will ultimately prevail.
Yeah, only religion makes sense is Islam. If
Okay,
any
and people
religion
and
makes sense, it's
and
Islam.
according to you, people don't care about that.
No, no, I didn't say
According
I
to you,
don't care
people
about.
don't. No, no,
No, no,
not
no.
you. According to you, majority of the people don't care about what
Yes,
actually is true
correct.
and what makes
That's
sense.
correct. You know,
Then why? Then what would change in the human beings going forward that they would start caring about truth and what makes sense?
you take Andrew Tate. He does not understand
I
Islam,
agree. I agree with
whatever,
you.
whatsoever. He
That
only
goes against your
convert
point.
Yeah,
Then
because it gave him.
that's not the point that Callie is mentioning.
that
You
goes against
understand
your
the
point.
point we are trying to make, right?
That goes against your
You are
point.
saying that
Nevertheless,
it doesn't
yeah.
matter whether it makes sense or not. People will follow what they feels good to them, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
And then you
What
say
satisfies them?
Islam makes more sense, but people are
Yeah,
still not gonna come to it, right?
yeah, yeah. It's true.
Right. So
I will never say
then
people
the
are
whole
convert.
case that you're building, the whole case that you're building falls apart, right?
Yeah, I will never say people are converting to Islam because Islam is a true religion.
Oh,
Only they are
you
looking
just
for
said
their
that. I don't know.
comfort.
Okay, I don't know.
So
Either you
you're
get
gone
you
back to
forget what you're. Yeah,
you're gone
you
back to
keep
your
forgetting what you
your original
say in
point.
one moment, and then in the very
Yeah,
next moment you say something else.
yeah, I know. Can I just another point that will disprove what you're saying, Saeed, is the following. For example, most secular countries with certain social systems, etc., with certain forms of organization, they tend to have better mental health statistics, or they tend to be the happiest societies. They also tend to be, for example, quite peaceful because they don't have any violence or almost none, right? Very, very low numbers, if anything. Crime rates are like non-existent almost. Education is really high. Health rates are really high. These are very peaceful, tranquil societies with a lot of happiness. In fact, countries like Sweden, Norway, they're extremely happy. What this shows is what you're saying is Islam is the only sort of pragmatic, practical life that will help somebody, let human beings, and this is why it's very attractive. Doesn't seem plausible because it seems as though secular countries with these sort of systems in place is more capable of producing happier, functioning societies.
Yeah,
Okay.
because their economic is good. That's why they are
Yes.
happy.
Who cares what the reason is? Who cares what the reason is? The point is it can do it, right? It can do it. That's right. And as we move forward and implement these policies, they will create more stable and happier societies. You don't need Islam. Who cares about what the cause is? I mean, the cause behind Islam might be that there's if the cause behind Islam creating happiness might be something to do with heaven or hell or the myths, right?
Look,
The cause behind the happiness in a secular society might be the economics. Yeah, who
yeah,
cares?
but money alone cannot make you happy.
No, no. Nobody's saying the money alone is. Nobody's saying money alone is. What is making you happy is having. So in these Nordic societies, when I say the economics is good, is the fact that people have access to communities, safe societies, resources, etc., basic levels that you don't necessarily have to be extremely rich, right? So these people in these countries are really happy, and they're meaning as well. They believe that they have meaning, otherwise they'd be really unhappy, right? Why
yeah,
would So my point is, here's a secular alternative of a happy society, right? And in fact, it's the happiest society around the world, right? Happiest society, and it's without religion. So what you're saying is that you need religion in order to create the happiness. It's not true.
No, no, it's true. Every human being need where they come from, where they are going, what is the purpose of life. Every human need to answer and need an answer for these things. Otherwise, human will be get anxiety and don't know where you come from,
Right.
where are you going,
And
what
I
you
completely
supposed to
disprove that.
do on this earth.
And I've completely disproved that. There's more anxiety in religious countries. There's more depression. There's more crime. There's more turbulence. There's more violence in religious nations, etc. But forget the violence. That can be attributed to the economies, etc. But happiness. There's more happiness in non-religious countries like Sweden and Norway than compared to religious countries. So
In Norway or Sweden, these people are committing a lot of suicide over there. You know that they have a lot
say
of
that again.
suicide. They
Suicide.
are
What's the
committing
They have a
suicide?
lot
suicide.
of suicides, basically.
Yeah. How do you compare the suicide rates?
But I know they are committing a lot of suicide in that Norway and Sweden. Your country, talking.
Right. So how do you calculate the suicide rates? Where's the rates? What is the rate? How do you compare it through the countries? Because
Just
when
compared
you
to
do
their
that,
population,
right,
rate,
compared to population. So do you think, for example, in a country like Somalia, like in Bangladesh, like in Pakistan, for example, the suicide rate would be adequately represented, particularly when there's a lot of stigma around suicide? And two, people can't voluntarily suicide when they're at an old age. Are you comparing like for like? Are you comparing, for example, general suicide at the age of 21, right? Or are you taking into account, for example, in Sweden, for example, if you have a medical illness and you're 70 or 80 years old, you can actually commit an assisted suicide, right? So go on.
Muslim have the lowest suicide rate in the world. Even poor
Sorry?
people do not commit suicide. Muslim do not commit suicide.
How would you know
They
that?
have patient. No, they have
How would you know
patient.
that? Did you not hear my
We
point? I
teach
said,
patient.
how would you calculate that? For example, the rape rates. We accept this with rape. Look, criminologists and academics, even the World Health Organization, for example, would say, rape, stuff like rape is hard to calculate across the world, and they include suicide. Yeah, World Health Organization, hard to calculate across the world because there's not enough forensic and detective sort of agencies to go around to register these things properly and formally assign the label, this person was committed suicide versus this person died from natural causes. In the West, there's greater advantage to do those things. There's less stigma. People are more willing to talk about it. It's open. Yeah, it's open. It will be on the death records. The doctor would have medicated them. You don't get to do these things in places like Bangladesh, places like Somalia, places like Pakistan.
Rape invest. You have a boyfriend, girlfriend. They do not tell you this rape happened.
Yeah, I'm giving you an example of. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying there are issues with data collection and recording that will make it difficult to obtain a honest understanding,
Guys,
factual
are we
understanding.
moving away from our main topic? I think we're moving way too away tangentially.
Yeah. No, Syed wanted to make the point. Syed wanted to make the point that because suicide rates are higher. Well, suicide rates are higher in the West in general. But the point I've made is that the World Health Organization says before you make a per capita population per population comparison, you need to know whether or not countries in the East properly detect, document, and authenticate genuine suicides. Right? The suicide rate, therefore, is actually not that much different. Yeah, the suicide rates have been going down since the 1980s. They have been going down, apart from the exception of America, if I remember. Steven Pinker mentions this. With the exception of the United States of America, in every other European country, suicide rates have been going down. But the difference is not massive between other countries in the East, etc., and can be attributed to data collection problems, right? In terms of like, I'm pretty sure I made myself clear there. Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. In India, also a lot of rape people don't get reported because there is useless to report getting rape because there is no punishment. There are
that's one factor. That's one factor. Similar problems exist.
That's not the biggest factor. That's not the biggest factor. It's a stigma that's the biggest factor, and that stigma exists in almost every society.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, no,
And that exists
I mean,
in
that's the
most
case in the
conservative
subcontinent.
societies.
It's in the subcontinent
Exactly,
mostly.
exactly. In
yeah,
most
in
conservative
India,
societies, that exists.
yeah, in India, even you report it, they don't care. Police doesn't care. They don't catch the
Who
rape
said that?
case.
I
No,
mean,
I think once it
that
is
seems to be a
reported, I
baseless
think
claim. Yeah,
there is a
yeah.
police have a duty as well, right? I mean, for them, it's a matter of their jobs basically. So once it's reported, they have to follow it pretty much. Whether they use good methods or bad
In
methods,
fact,
you can always question those methods
yeah.
basically,
In fact,
or they're
there are
efficient
people
or
there are
not. That's also another story.
yeah. In
But
fact, there are people who argue
they have
that
to act. Yeah, they
the
have
Yeah,
law
to
is
let
in
act.
the
me
favor of women.
let me just strengthen you guys' point. Obviously, that's rape. We were talking about suicide, but I was just trying to give an example with rape, because everybody understands it. I hope, hopefully, everybody understands that rape statistics are very difficult to trust, given there are many biases when it comes to data collection and recording and registry,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
totally understood. Totally
And the
understood.
same applies. Same applies to suicide. I'll give you one vivid example of suicide. That, like in Bangladesh, for example, which is my ancestral country. In Bangladesh, there's no real formal procedure to, for example, to do a post-mortem after death. It's not mandatory, and you can get around it. There's a lot of corruption as well. So if somebody
Right.
dies in their homes, for example, unlike the United Kingdom, where if somebody dies in your home, if you don't declare it, you're going to be committing a crime. Two, as soon as the doctor gets there, it's almost always the case that unless you've already been in a hospital, it will be deemed suspicious, and you will be
So there'll
doing
be
your
an autopsy performed,
autopsy.
basically.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's to figure out the cause of death.
Right.
Nothing like that exists in Bangladesh, not widespread, right? And
Right.
people
Right.
don't have the money, and there's a lot of corruption, and and it's not a law. It's not a law that says that you have to do a cross-examination, a autopsy. So this will affect, for example, this one factor out of many factors that will affect the suicide rate. Because if there was a suicide, it won't get recorded. Simple as that. So this is another issue why you can't really say that um, suicide rates are higher in certain Western countries like Norway and Sweden, etc., without knowing the suicide rates, the true suicide rates in those other countries.
True. True. All right. Let's bring the train back on the track. All right. So, Syed, we found out from you that you don't care whether something is true or not. You would still like to believe it if it gives you, if it makes you feel good, right?
If there is, if somehow I found out that there is no God, somehow that got some intelligent, and find out there is no God, and I will still tell people there is a God, and it will give people a life structure, how to live life and happy society, a good
Yeah, yeah. So,
society.
so now, think about it. Think about it. You somehow come to know that there is no God, right?
Mhm.
Somehow, let's think about this hypothetical case carefully, right?
Mhm.
Wouldn't you feel really bad about still believing something that isn't true, and yet you believe because you think in your mind that it makes you feel good? I would say it should make you feel even worse. You see why I'm saying that? Because you
No,
know that you're lying to yourself into making believe something that is not true to make you feel good. But you can make yourself feel good even without including that God in the equation, right?
no, no, no. I
Why?
believe. I
Why
believe.
can't you be
Yeah,
why can't you have the same disciplines without God?
you know, I believe a religion responsible for creating civilization. If we do not have
No, no, you are
religion,
not answering my
no.
question.
But this is
You're
the
going into some tangent. I asked you a very specific question.
look.
You understood what I asked you.
Yeah, I understand. Look, human how we became a civilized. Human became a civilized because of religion. Make people civilized. Without religion, we cannot be a civilized people.
Yo, Said,
Because
why are you saying that? I just debunked you. There are multiple countries that have no religion that are more civilized than the country that you're in right now. Like, what are
no,
you talking about?
look,
Civilized,
even
civilized.
Sweden they follow Christian,
No, they don't.
Christian
They
thought,
don't.
Christian philosophy. Even
No,
Christian
they don't.
student,
No,
they
they
have,
don't.
look, they have still they follow Christian philosophy about life. Even they do not believe in God, but they follow same rule, law, everything. What
Oh, look what
they
you've done. You
inherited.
made it. No. You made it. You made it the case that if anybody follows laws like "Thou shalt not murder," therefore it's just religious. Then, by definition, it will always be religion. Then, because you think the very concept of a law is religion.
Look,
That just makes your case unfalsifiable, right? I don't know if you know what that means, right? It just means that
there,
you
there,
think
there,
you think any norms or laws, like I should be friendly to my neighbor, I should not go kill somebody, I should not go steal. These are things that are found outside of religion as well. So it's not Christian philosophy.
no,
Those are
but
secular human.
who preach this? Who preach this? Not to kill, not to steal. Do atheists preach this? This is the
Yeah,
religion
yes, we do.
preach
The
this.
ancient Stoics predating religion in a secular Greek atmosphere talked about without any reference to any deity or any supernatural force. They talked about
Why
the nice
why does it
democratic
even matter who
civilization.
preached it?
Yeah.
Why does it even matter who preached it?
Yeah, Confucius talked about the golden rule prior to religion. There was
Yeah,
no
but
religion.
Madan, that doesn't even matter. Let's say, even if you knew that certain people who were liars claiming to be, have once you, and this is on the premise that you came to the understanding that there's no God. So anybody who preached it, basically, any of the prophets who preached it, you knew that those people were liars. Would you trust the liars? Can't you come to the rational conclusion by yourselves that some of their teachings have goods of their own?
But women are benefiting from religion. Atheism does not offer
You are
anything.
But
you
it
see.
does. I mean, all the benefits of religion, the atheism has provided. For example, you should read Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker. All secular democratic countries are doing far better. All liberal democratic countries are doing far better than non-liberal democratic countries. Furthermore, non-liberal democratic countries are doing far better than theocracies. Right? Theocracies, where the religion is in the legal system, you have poor civil rights, poor socioeconomic rights, poor employment protection, poor mental health, high crime rates, across most dimensions. You have this kind of correlation, etc. It doesn't demonstrate that it's merely the religion that's the problem or something like that, but it does show a pattern. It does disprove what you're saying, though, that without religion you can't have a peaceful civilization. In fact,
There are
more peaceful civilization than we ever had before. In the 21st century, we have a more peaceful civilization than we ever had before in the history of humanity. We have more wealth, less poverty, right? Low levels of crime than we ever had before. Look at what crime rates were like in the 1960s. Look at the number of wars that used to exist before the 1950s.
Lower mortality rate, better healthcare, all those things.
Look at the amount of poverty that was just 50 years ago. For example, the poverty rate right now is less than 10%. Back in 1950s, 40s, it was, I think, more than 40%.
40%, more than
right.
40%.
So global poverty has declined and religion has declined as well. What are you talking about?
The tribal society today even still exists. Tribal, they do not have a religion like Australia. Native Australian native, they do not have a religion. That's why they stay backward. Even they have the biggest land in the world, and they do not develop anything. So because they do not have any religion, so they do not make a progress. So, but without religion, you cannot make a progress. You cannot make a society, civilized society. You cannot do without religion.
So am I just talking to the air, right? Like you say, you don't get it. That if you come to the West, if you fly to the West, you will be walking into a situation where you will be tolerated more, and you'll have a better lifespan. You have better hospital access, healthcare access, better employment prospects in most areas of the West. Not every country, but depending on the country, we're talking about you're going to have, increased prospects across. I don't know where
Yeah,
you're getting this
because
idea.
America is a religious country.
I'm
It's
not
not
talking about
atheist
religion.
country.
I didn't say America. I said West, right?
West
But
is a religious country. West also
West is not
religious.
a country. The West is not a country. Which
All
country are
right,
you talking about?
guys.
No, I'm actually having fun.
Ceasefire,
No, I
ceasefire.
am actually enjoying
Let's
this. I'm enjoying
let's
this.
yeah,
West,
let's have somebody else. Let's listen to somebody else. I mean, we've given Syed good enough time. I think Syed should be happy as well,
Thank you, sir, taking
right?
me.
I would like
And
to know which
yes,
country is the West.
Uh, but I'm releasing my book this week. I'm gonna release my book. This is my new book. Its name is an introduction to your creator. Um, second title is God
Saeed,
Resume.
Saeed, you should read more books than write books.
yeah. I
Brother,
think first off,
I, I'm I
start
have a
with reading.
knowledge. I have knowledge. That's why I'm writing books.
You at least say writing a books. Say
Oh,
writing a
many
book.
books. My first, I'm gonna release my 4, 5, 10 books, in future. But my
Books?
this
No,
week,
it's not bookses. It's not bookses.
okay, that's okay. That's I'm not educated person.
But
Still, I'm
look,
writing
you
books.
just said the West is a religious place. You make no sense because you say the West is a religious place, and yet you're thinking that West needs Islam because it doesn't have religion.
Yeah, because Christianity is time over for Christianity. So it was ancient time. You can believe God is a man. He came to earth and die for it, and he eat shit and all those things. It was 2,000 years ago. It was okay, but today is a rational, reasonable. People are thinking. People. It doesn't
Yeah,
make sense anymore.
yeah. Kali, I'm saying, Saeed, that's true. As much as you find faults in their, concept of God or theology, they have the same objection against you. A God having shin and two hands, two right
No, no,
hands,
those
and
are
all those
metaphoric
things.
language. Those are
You see,
metaphoric.
that's what they say as well, right?
We
You
don't
see,
see our God is a
you
man.
answer when you
We
answer
don't
for
say our
yourself,
God
you
is a
also
man.
answer. You answer when you answer for yourself, you also answer for Christians as well. You understand that thing, right?
Look,
You see
look,
the absurdity of your ignorance, right?
we don't believe our God is look like a human being. Those are just a metaphoric language. Allah used my hand. I made it Adam with my hand.
I
This
think
Kali
all
wants
are
to jump in. Kali wants
I
to
think
jump
we have
in.
discussed your concept of God. I think it was a while back, and your God even write things down because he's quite forgetful.
No,
Do you remember
his
that
God can
conversation?
be evil as well. His God can be evil as
No,
well.
no, leave
That's
that.
what.
I think he agreed that God has to write things down because he's quite forgetful, and that's the very reason that he has this lohe mahfuz things written down, right? Do you remember that conversation,
yeah,
Sai?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, so then I think it is.
But
I don't
that's
think. I don't think. I don't think you can blame others for their concept of God if that is your concept of God. So I don't think.
no.
I think you should be a bit more critical about your own worldview
Yeah, you
and
should
beliefs. I
refrain
think you
from,
have to be.
pointing
Yeah.
fingers at somebody else's, concept of God, basically, given somebody else might find, your concept of God to be extremely absurd, highly absurd, kind of. Anyway, Said,
Yes.
nice talking to you.
Thank you,
I
sir.
think, all right. If somebody else wants to join in, I think we don't have enough time. If not, maybe, guys, shall we close the stream?
Yeah, if you want, I kind of enjoyed that. Um, um, I don't know if I sounded crazy to you guys.
I think we should leave Madan whenever Syed is here. Let them two have a go at each other.
But yeah, but I found it funny, and I kind of found it fun. I like to like do you know how some people like go to the gym and work out and get that pump? I like to get that pump in when I'm debating sometimes, and if I don't achieve it, I feel a little. So yeah, I wanted to do that. I enjoyed it.
Right. Okay. I think what we need to do is, guys. I think I'm gonna push for our channel. and that's this Philosapiens. Anybody who likes and listens to us, uh, please do like, subscribe, and share. Mostly the three of us do English streams on this channel only as of now, but we are also building our new channel at the rate Unveiling Faith. You can see it in the banners pretty much. And yeah, if you can, if you are able, please do support us any which way, buy me a coffee or Patreon, buymeacoffee.com/philosapiens or patreon.com/philosapiens. You can do that, or you can, have so many different ways of supporting us via YouTube as well, super chats, super stickers, or, become a member, all those things you can do. So yeah, with all that, guys, any closing remarks, Callie?
No, I had to be away for a while,
Yeah,
and
you
yeah,
said I'll be back in a minute, and then
yeah,
I
I
said
got a bit busy.
I said the Terminator ka dialogue a few times, and then I realized
Yeah,
maybe I won't be back.
yeah, I'll be back.
I'll be back. All right, Madan.
No, I think I've said a lot already on this stream, so everybody knows what my
Yeah,
point of
yeah.
view is.
I think, yeah. As you heard us talk about the Ayaan Hirsi Ali case and AP case, I think we have different opinions on it. But if AP wants to drop by someday to clarify, if he's listening to us right now, maybe it's his last chance to drop by and clarify a few things, few of our doubts. Otherwise, he can always just email us and say, okay, I would like to come on your channel and clarify a few things, why I became a Christian, present his best case, best arguments, and whatnot. And that's about it. And see you guys later. Hopefully next week or soon. Bye for now.
Bye bye.